A big thank you to Jero for sponsoring today's video on Patreon. Light Paws Emperor's Voice versus Breya, Greasefang and Xyris. 2 lander with a bunch of heavy stuff in hand is no good. We will mulligan. Okay, that's looking better. It's not looking that much better actually now that I look at it. Yeah, it's all for CMC and above, so we'll have to go down a card unfortunately. Into yet another 1 lander. Mulligan. Alright, we've got the core Spirit Dancer, got back into the Ancient Tomb, so we'll keep in a couple of cards. That can be Teferi's Protection and a land. And we're starting the game off with 5 cards in hand, unfortunately. Doesn't happen very often on the channel. Draw into a Rogue's Passage, so we've got the land sorted out at least. Soul Ring from Greasefang. And that takes him straight into the first vehicle in Smuggler's Copter. And from Breya we see a Chief Engineer. Artifacts have Convoke. Another land for us. Need to start getting into enchantments. We've got time though. We'll cast the Light Paws. Metallic Mimic, so must be making some kind of tribal list. These throw out snakes, so maybe snake tribal. And yeah, going for snakes with the Metallic Mimic. Scrap Trawler from Greasefang. Deciding during the beginning of combat phase to go Smuggler's Copter being animated. And that swings in towards the Xyris player. Sculpting Steel into play, and that is any artifact in play, so probably the Soul Ring, and yeah, copies the Soul Ring. Missing a land drop there though, it is turn 3. Okay, Arden is pretty good, but still not getting into the enchantments unfortunately, so we'll set up with the core Spirit Dancer and hope that no one removes it. Temple Bell being played and activated, which I do welcome because we do need to start getting into enchantments, and there is the Flickering Ward, a pretty good one. And we see the Commander Greasefang, Okiba Boss. See the Smuggler's Copter being sacrificed by Deadly Dispute to draw some cards and make a treasure, and then the Greasefang brings it back into play at the beginning of combat. Smuggler's Copter being animated, this time going in at Breya. Smuggler's Copter does get bounced back to the hand thanks to the Greasefang ability. Pili-Pala is most likely part of a combo piece, that along with the Academy Ruins coming into play, and they managed to get down Bronze Guardian. Okay, an Armoured Sky Hunter now, so we're doing alright. I think we're okay to just go Shielded by Faith. Yeah, I don't think we need to go Ancient Tomb yet. We'll just get down the Rogue's Passage. I don't want to get down Flickering Ward until we can afford to bounce it back, so let's just go Shielded by Faith onto the Light Paws here. That allows us to draw a card with the core Spirit Dancer. And we get into some removal with the Darksteel Mutation, so even after mulliganing down to 5, I think we're going to be doing okay here. Get to Tutor for something with the Light Paws. And what we maybe do here is go for Pariah, then any damage dealt to us is dealt to the indestructible Light Paws. So I think that's okay. Yeah, we can go Pariah, just hope that we don't see much targeted removal, haven't seen any yet, so yeah, might be a little bit risky, but we'll try that. Having us draw a card again with the Temple Bell, we get into another Snow Plains, and it is Solemn Simulacrum. We are certainly not going to throw the Shielded by Faith onto there. Now seeing the Parhelion number 2 coming into play, they swing in towards us. I don't think, maybe they're not too worried about dealing damage to us. Yeah, we are protected from damage thanks to Pariah and Shielded by Faith. Anyway, the Angels come in, one goes in to the left, one goes in at the right, so the damage being spread around here. It could be that they deal damage to us and remove the Shielded by Faith beforehand to get rid of the Light Paws, but deciding against that, so just 5 damage going on to the Light Paws. If they decided to get rid of the Shielded by Faith now, it would still destroy our commander, because that 5 damage marker is on there. Seeing a Teleportation Circle, one that I haven't seen very much of. I don't think I've seen any of it actually, ever since it was printed, but this is a really good card. So they go for Greasefang onto the stack first, and then it will be flickering this with the enchantment so that they can keep the Parhelion 2 in play. Another Soul Ring, this time from his own deck for Breya. Still missing coloured mana though, only 1 of each, and doesn't have any red yet. Grand Architect will be able to generate even more colourless mana. And then an Unwinding Clock as well, so really getting things going here. A Smothering Tithe is going to be some decent mana production for us. Yeah, I don't think there's anything that we want to go for Darksteel Mutation onto at the moment, so maybe we just go Smothering Tithe. And then we can still go for Flickering Ward onto the core Spirit Dancer and hold up the mana to send it back if we want to. So yeah, I think I'll go Ancient Tomb into the Smothering Tithe, and then we'll go for the Flickering Ward onto the core Spirit Dancer, which will draw us another card. Oh, alright, and speaking of ramp, there is Serra's Sanctum now. We're doing pretty damn well this game. Gonna give protection from white, I think. That does mean that we're not going to be able to further enchant the core Spirit Dancer in this deck, but we can bounce it back to hand, like I said, and we'll probably be doing that at the end of this player's turn regardless. Can search for another enchantment with the Light Paws. And Hyena Umbra, I think, is pretty good here. I'm playing pretty conservatively, but I'm just worried about losing Indestructible. So if we lose this, and then the Light Paws gets blown up, we've still got the Hyena Umbra regardless, so I think we're alright there. Yep, and there's a Fracture, so that's what I was worried about. Yeah, I'm assuming they've got lots of removal in this deck, not only because they're in the removal colours, but because they're not going after the Pariah like you would think they should, or probably even the Shielded by Faith would be a better target. Anyway, don't get any mana from the Smothering Tithe, unfortunately. Xyris, the Writhing Storm coming into play, and that might be a target for the Darksteel Mutation. Temple Bell drawing us a card yet again, which has certainly helped us here. So that triggers the Xyris, and these snakes are going to come in with plus counters on them. Phyrexian Arena with a vile white board around it. No need for it really, is there? The Weatherlight is the next vehicle to come into play, and it is the Parhelion that is being crewed by the commander. The two angels that were already in play going into the right here, we get the Parhelion 2, or Parhelion the second, however you're supposed to say it. And again, not going to be taking damage thanks to Pariah. And then still sending in these angels towards us. Yeah, I don't think they're aware of the Pariah, like I've already said a few times. Yeah, so currently sending 13 damage in towards us. And that 13 damage gets redirected to Light Paws. Then Teleportation Circle, you would think they would go after the Weatherlight. Oh no, they hardcast the Weatherlight, didn't they? So just deciding to untap Sol Ring instead. They do have coloured mana from the treasure tokens, so we'd look out for Generous Gift, you would assume. Now, I can never remember with these things. Is this a combo? Is this infinite mana with Pilipala? It's a mana of any colour. It taps down for 2, and then untaps for 2. And you make a mana of any colour, yeah, so this is infinite coloured mana, isn't it? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is, so we'll have to see what they can do with 5 cards in hand and a commander with unlimited mana. The game that I joined here did say that they were looking for a casual game, so I'm hoping that someone isn't going to win with an infinite combo on turn 6. Getting out Joyra, Weatherlight Captain, will no doubt be able to keep him in cards, which goes pretty damn well with infinite mana. You don't see me play combos like this very often, Grand Architect and Pilipala. People do recommend them to me, but I'm not really about to go through all the clicks on Magic Online. It just takes way too long. Like, if you demonstrate to your opponent what you're doing with an infinite combo like this, assuming that they don't know it already, you can display it to them a couple of times and then say, okay, I make a bajillion of every colour of mana, and then just do whatever you're doing, but can't really do that on Magic Online. It'd be good if we could set up macros or something like that with these combos, and just have everyone agree to you being allowed to add X number of mana, something like that. Anyway, Replication Specialist. That is the Mirror something or other, can't remember the name of it, but it allows you to make token copies of artifacts anyway. Mirrorworks, I've just remembered, I use Mirrorworks in Duretti, and this is a new copy of that on a creature. Now it is Research Thief, and that is being played into Joyra, so they will draw a card. The card draw will trigger the Xyris, of course, so they get another 2/2 snake, deciding to make a token copy of the Research Thief with the Replication Specialist. I mean, with the infinite mana, what they could really do here is just infinitely play Breya and sacrifice the Thopters and deal 3 damage to each player every time they do that. But like I said, Magic Online, you can't do that efficiently, so I'm not sure. I assume my opponent's going to just play it out fairly here. They wouldn't be able to do that before timing out. It would probably take them a couple of hours to click through all that. Making a copy of the Breya as well with the Replicator, which will obviously go down to the Legend rule, but they'll get more Thopters with that. It's noteworthy that the Breya can also deal with our Light Paws as well, so yeah, should have foreseen that really. And gone for protection from blue on this, or something like that. Now turning their Bronze Guardian into a blue creature with the Grand Architect. And finally, deciding to go through to combat here. And going in at the vehicles player. This thing is a 13/6 with double strike and ward 2. Deciding to just gang up on that with a bunch of angel tokens. So just losing all of their angels there and not getting rid of that. I think they misjudged the combat step there. Probably should have thrown this thing in the way as well. Yeah, and I've just been explaining to this player as well that he seemed to have a problem with my Shielded by Faith for some reason. Using the old internet buzzword toxic, and yeah, I was just explaining to him that this is infinite mana that he's got here. He doesn't seem to have realised that, so hopefully that will steer his eyes towards the infinite mana player as opposed to us. And now seeing a reshape, and not sure how much went into X there, but search for an artifact, put it onto the battlefield. Yeah, I'm not sure what they sacrificed there, maybe a Thopter token. They've only got 3 of those in play. And went for the Drossforge Bridge, which is an indestructible artifact. Mechanized Production coming into play now. That is enchanting the indestructible artifact land, which is actually a really cool interaction. I never thought of doing something like that. Yeah, they're not likely to control 8 or more of them. They did make a token copy already with the Replicator. So finally getting round to the end of the turn, let's bounce back the Flickering Ward. I will attempt to get protection from blue on the Light Paws, but I imagine the infinite mana player will have something to say about it. And yet another land for us. Let's go for the Flickering Ward onto the Light Paws and hope that they don't respond with the Breya. Alright, and letting that land, so we will take Pro Blue so that the Breya can't target our Light Paws anymore. And then we'll say okay, probably go for a buff here to further take it away from the Breya. So we'll grab ourselves an Ethereal Armour. Bumps up our commander to an 8/8, so it's not totally out of the woods yet, unfortunately. Might as well drop the Serra's Sanctum, and that'll give us a bunch of mana. Taps down for 5 mana at the moment. So let's play Darksteel Mutation. We will put that on this thing, because I think the Pili Palette is pretty useless without the Grand Architect, and they are back to holding up priority over here now. So they can go back in for a bunch of infinite mana and generic stuff again now. Drawing into Divine Reckoning from our Enchantress. In response, tapping that down for mana, and yeah, just pretty much letting it go, so that's really good. Not having to sit through even more combo stuff. So now with the Light Paws, let's have a look. Maybe we just go Spirit Mantle and give protection from creatures, then we can just swing straight in at people. So now we've got an 11/11 commander with Pro Blue, protection from creatures, first strike indestructible, and then we'll play out the Armoured Sky Hunter as well. Something tells me we're not going to be able to do anything with that if the Breya player has anything to say about it, but we'll swing in that direction anyway. And Breya decides to let the colourless mana go that he floated, so we'll start trying to get rid of Breya here. Actually just realised I could have tapped down the Ancient Tomb for some generic mana and played and then bounced the Flickering Ward again, couldn't I? But yeah, anyway, probably safer to just leave it in play regardless. Yeah, a little bit of drama going on in the in the chat here. The Zithris player is perfectly right in what he's saying. He said that this player is deflecting. The Breya's point of view is that, oh well, we're tied on our timer, so you know, what's the problem? Well, the problem is that we've just sat through you comboing off for 20 minutes during a casual game. I might be behind on the clock, or just as be using up just as much time as you, but it's not forcing someone to sit and watch me play for a 20-minute block, and that's the difference. So And I'm hoping the vehicle player plays it out because I can get rid of this player on the next turn, I hope. And yeah, I'll flick through this whole chat here and then you can have a read through it here if you want to. Yeah, he's saying that I'm bleeding through time with the shielded. I'm actually auto-yielded and auto saying no to this moving around, so it might take a second or two here and there as the client catches up, but it's not 20 minutes worth. The wasted time for me is actually coming from the fact that I'm commentating and showing the audience all the cards here like this, and yeah, with me stumbling over my words and then cutting that out in the edit, that does actually take more time than you realise. So I do apologise to my opponents for taking a bit longer than everyone else. Anyway, it looks like this game is... yeah, I was just going to say it looks like this game is just going to end in people scooping up. So, looks like, by default, we might win this one. Another indestructible land coming into play, and they can go for the replication specialist, which it looks like they're doing. They've got 2 cards in hand. They told us previously they had 2 lands in hand, which I do believe. They have just drawn into another one, though. So it is -4/-4, going on to the Armoured Sky Hunter, which I assumed that we wouldn't keep in play thanks to the Breyer. So this just opens us up to potentially go for Divine Reckoning next turn. Then they go on to the core Spirit Dancer as well. They can't actually deal any damage to us here unless they can deal with our commander. So just turning everything in sideways, they might as well. We've got protection from creatures anyway. So we get no damage dealt to us there. We do have protection from creatures from the Spirit Mantle, so no damage is dealt to Light Paws either. Yeah, and he's looking salty that I can't take any damage. Yeah, I mean, we've got a really good board state here with Light Paws, but we'd have to like slowly take out each opponent. Maybe if we get double strike onto Light Paws, then we could have started going in for one-shotting people. But that would have been like towards turn 9 or 10 by the time we'd probably start getting that going. So let's see what we were drawing into here. Alright, Daybreak Coronet. That would have kept us in the game a bit longer thanks to the lifelink potentially if we lose our commander. But ultimately they have no reason to be salty there. I mean, do you really want people to just sit there and watch you play with an infinite combo on Magic Online for 20 minutes and expect them not to get bored and annoyed with that? This is the thing with these social interactions like this. It's called Magic the Gathering. Even though we can't sit across literally from a table with people, it is a gathering of 4 players. 4 people are on the other sides of these screens here. And you have to take into account the fact that people aren't as interested in your infinite combo and your deck as you are. Just because you enjoy doing that doesn't mean everyone else enjoys watching you do it. So, yeah, pretty boring, and it was the Breyer's win there because they got infinite mana, which means they can do infinite damage with Breyer, but it's not something you really do on Magic Online, so just something to bear in mind for anyone who plays on the client or is looking to go into Magic Online. Infinite combos like that don't really work, so yeah, something to be avoided, I think. I'm tribalkai on the EDH channel. Thank you for watching.